Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to work on paths, and by the time we're done with this lesson, you will know how to work with paths and throw them into any of your work projects at any moment. So let's get started. Let's bring in the animated beach scene that comes with Cartoon Animator, and you can see there's a couple boats out here on the water. And I'm just going to scroll it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a path and work with paths and show you how that works. So let's just come up here and create a path, and we can select where we want this first little button to be, which is going to be really right at the boat. And I'm going to want him to float around, and each time I click, it establishes a new point. Okay, and then I'm going to right click that. You can see there's a little adjuster here that allows me to move this path around however I want. So let's just click on one of those. If I move this yellow box by clicking it, I can move the whole thing here, the whole string. And the red one allows me to scooch it one way or the other. This also will move similarly, the whole string. I wanted to right click on this and show you that there's the Bezier, and that's going to make a more rounded path. Okay, so this tool can make the boat drive up onto the beach, but to be more rounded and not as stiff as it is here, this would round out that a little more. Let's come over here and right click. Looks like you got to select it each time to get the more rounded, but let's see if let's just try this for a minute now. We have this basically a path that I've set up, and if I now come and click anytime on the path, you could change any point and scooch it around. So you know that now, but I want to have the path properties now. So, okay, so here we have this, and now we need to basically get the object to be part of the path. Okay, so now when I actually click on the sailboat, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit this little eyedropper, and I'm going to click that like that. And now I have the actual boat is attached to the path. And if I drag this along, this shows this progression all the way to end. Okay, so here's the deal. And if you want the boat to be back up in the position that it was in, you're going to go ahead and just kind of hit this up arrow. Get him right up there. Okay, and now if we're on frame 0 and say we want him to cruise to the end of the path by frame 800, then it's pretty simple. We'd move it to frame 800 here and then just move the progression to 100%. And essentially now he's going to go, this boat is going to follow this path just like that. Okay. Could set a path for the other boat and they could both be out sailing along. Okay. So now let's say that we wanted this boat to have a couple places where he kind of slowed down or sped up. Then anywhere along the journey here, say at frame 200, instead of him being at 24.5, if we just simply move him back because we didn't want him to get past this horizon or the land until a certain point in our show. See, now it's made another point. Okay, so if I want him to stay If I click on this point and I see that he's at 17.7 and I want him to float there for a little while, I can go ahead and move him forward, say to frame 300, but move his path progression back to just right before he's starting to make it to land, right here, lining up with land. And so from now 200 to 300, let's watch his speed. He's going to be going about like that, but he's going to hit this one point on just slow way down and then keep on going on his progression. So you can actually make the boat do what you want it to do and slow down if it needs to come up to some area where it's going to stop. Okay, so now we have basically it on a path and it's going to stop because that's the last instruction. If you wanted it to keep going, you can just have him go again. So let's say that we move him back here, and now let's figure out where it would look natural for the boat to flip. Going to have to get to a certain point, and that we just go ahead and flip him like this with the flip key. Now this is, we do the drop down. You can see there's a vertical and a horizontal flip, so we're just going to hit the horizontal, which is what the little default setting is. So I think if we just click it, that now this boat has flipped right here at that point and would continue its journey. All right, and right here, do the same thing. And okay. So let's just go ahead and call that good for the boat. And let's click on this other guy here. And let's see if we can assign him to the same path. So what I'd like to do is, let's see if we can click this sailboat now. And so you have to have that path properties open before you click the sailboat. And now that I've clicked it, though, I can go ahead and hit this eyedropper and come on in on him. All right. So now he's on the path, and you can offset as well. So here's the Y button, and I'm going to just not offset him quite as much and see. Yeah, so I wanted him to be in front. All right, let's check that out in a higher res here. I'll click on anything else and see if there's any possibility getting the path to go away. It likes playing the path. So you can see here I can come in and adjust any of these points anytime I want. I didn't think that it was rounded enough or needed it to not look like it's crashing into shore too much or anything like that. All right, now they're passing pretty decent. Kind of make them not go quite as straight of a path. Let's go ahead now and just see the loop. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and escape from this stuff. And I'm going to see if we can make it stop showing us this path. So if you don't want it to select stuff, I mean, you just have to lock the scene and then you can actually click it and it's only going to show what's in it. And you see what I had to do to turn that path off was just basically say don't have it show. And if I also lock this, I can't accidentally click it, but it looks like if I lock it, um, then I've selected it. I can select it here now, but not from here. Okay, so it's not going to accidentally open up if you lock your scene like this. And now we can just sit and play these boats and play this scene. So let's take a quick look here at what we got. And I slowed this scene down a little bit so it could look a little more natural here. We won't play at all. We'll go ahead and move on to the next phase of making paths. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a character. All right, and we'll go ahead with Eva and we'll just put in a couple walk steps. The actions, which is right here, 2D. And let's just go for the 2D human female side. Okay, so the walk forward is the one, if you create your own path from scratch, then you could add the walk motion, just basically them walking in place unless they're actually going down a path that you've hooked them to. But if you use the walk forward motions, then they're already predefined to make them go ahead and do a forward walking motion. And so let's just do that. Well, you have to do a start, a long, which is the 2L, and then an end, which is number 3, which is the end. So here, let's put in number 1. And then you can put it in as many of these as you want, but we're just going to do that one. And here's the ending step. Okay, let's go ahead now and look at that motion clip that we just put in. And in order to see all of it, we are seeing all of it as 110. We can see how the timeline follows it. Okay, and so let's go ahead also onto path. And you'll see here that there's some other things. I'm going to just take motion off. And we really just have a path offset. It's not really showing any particular path in this case. But let me show you here, even with this one set of the path offset, you still have the ability to move your character off of that first set line. And that's really important to know when you're trying to work with exactly where you want the character to start from. Okay. I can go side to side here when I'm clicking on the red. And on the yellow, I'm able to move the character wherever I want. So let's say I'm on the 0 frame here still, and here we go. Okay. And so that allows me to adjust this character's starting point, and in this case, the ending point. And I can, end up where I need her to be once she walks her walking steps. So let's go back. Okay, so you can work with the character's walk cycle that easy and move and adjust them without having to make big alterations to them or feel the need to have to be dragging them and things like that. Now, when I drag them, I end up creating little paths like this. When I come back to the beginning, she's going to unnaturally travel, but this is getting her to maybe be coming down some stairs. Let's now click on this because we have now created a path. And it is adjustable as well. Can stretch it out, change the angle. I've just hit a wrong button. Okay, making her jump into the scene. Coming in at an angle. So if she were coming down a hill or something like that, where I have an angle in the scene, I'm able to, sorry, have her walk down the hill. Okay, so let's say this is all in the wrong spot now. I didn't mean it to get so out of hand here. Yeah, I can just move this, or I can come over here. Let's say we move it like that, and then we come up here and we bring that into the scene. So I needed to be into the scene instead of out of the scene, and back I go. Okay, so that's that part of paths that I wanted you to be able to see that you can work with that. And then let's show you one other thing here. Whenever you're working with this tool, all you have to do is right click on it and change whether or not you want it to be a linear, which is going to be like angles, sharp angles in that, or whether you want the Bezier tool, which is going to make curves. So let's do that. We'll this one, see how you can make it start to make a curve. And you have the ability to grab this and make it be so as well. So that way you can change the angle of what's going on here. Let's go ahead to the beginning. Okay. Okay. So that's how you work with the actor path. And then simple as that, though. Let's see, we get to the end of the walking step and we go ahead and create any kind of path we want. Let's say we're just going to walk her off the scene and we don't want it to be such a straight line. And so we have that, and all we have to do now, um, if you want to add any points, is add them. Everything's the same. Any point that you click is going to be adjustable. You don't want her to walk uphill quite so fast. Do that. All right, so we have the path property. Now we'll go ahead and click on the actual actor, and this changes a bit to give us another setting. We can pick the path. We're just going to go ahead and click it. Okay, and if there's any weird offset like it just did, then we're going to go ahead and move her back. So I asked it to follow path, and then I unclicked it from following path. This follow path, it really went into this weird mode of which direction it's in, but now she's on the path. Let's see if we'll walk now correctly. Okay, so yes, she's on the path, but we still don't have her progressing. So let's go here And she's walking forward without the path progression. The path progress at 100 is that she's 0. And that's where I set it. So there's 0, and if I drag it, she follows it. Perhaps these shouldn't be the same kind of walking steps as the other one. Now, on a path, I'm going to have to make her walk with a different kind of walking step. Otherwise, okay, so now if you were to put in the other type of walking step, instead of walk forward, you just do the walk motion. Okay, so now we have her basically walking out of the scene. Here we go. And get her to lean in more. So the up arrow is usually going to make them lean forward. And I'm sorry, in this case, back. So if I go one click at a time here, and I'm not too exaggerated on it, you're not necessarily going to see it. Okay. All right. And then just depending on the terrain or whatever that she would be walking up, you could make that decision going up the path, whether or not you need to offset. And so that's easy to do right here. If you want her to be up a smidge, be walking right on the top of that line. It's simple enough to do. Thanks for watching, everybody. Come on back. We'll keep on working on more cool stuff. If you found this content useful, please like and subscribe. And check out some of our playlists on how to do Cartoon Animator, AI, and other forms of animation. See you soon.